Hey YouTube, Sean here. Today's topic will be interesting. I'll be touching on adapting to a slower recovery in your 30s. Remember when you could hit the gym, party, stay up all night, still feel fine the next day? Yeah, your 30s are here to remind you that those days are different. I'm diving into how my body started to recover slower in my 30s compared to my 20s, and trust me, it was a wake up call. A big one. Something that I have to get used to, and I'm still trying to get used to. I'll share what I learned and some practical tips to keep you moving, whether in your 20s or already feeling the 30s shift like me. And God knows if you're in your 40s, I could use some advice from you as well. If you're in your 20s, this will help you plan ahead for sure. And if you're in your 30s, like me recently, you'll probably relate to these struggles and want these tips. And for the records, my background, I'm relatively very active in my 20s. I do a lot of sports. I'm somewhat fit. And right now, I just entered my 30s era. Given my athletic background, I still feel the difference. So, with the wake up call, it's when in my mid 20s, I remember I could run 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers, hit the weights, hit the gym, have a bit of rest and be back at it the next day. But when I hit 30, I tried the same routine and it was a big, big mistake. I was sore for days. My legs felt like they were staging a protest. And that's when I realized that I pushed too hard and my body wasn't bouncing back like it used to, or as quickly as it used to. So the lesson here is that I reflected. The sauna showed me that my 30s body needs more respect and more rest. I wasn't 25, 21, or 18 anymore. And pushing through the pain wasn't the answer, really. I had to rethink how I approach fitness to avoid burnout or injury. And the main thing that my body really screamed for its rest. Resting for 6 hours versus 7 or 8 hours made a huge and a world of difference, as well as diet. The other story that I wanted to share on how I adapted my fitness routine after the struggle, it's I started to experiment. I tried to, stretch more, sleep more and drink more water, have a better diet. And it was a game changer. I also cut back on heavy lifting, right? Lift lighter, slightly lighter, and hit a little bit more reps. And start spacing out those intense workouts. One time, I tried ignoring my body again. I went super hard and all out for a heavy lifting session. And I was honestly out for the rest of the week, which was not a good outcome that I hoped for. And the lesson here is switching to a balanced routine with more recovery time made me feel stronger, not weaker. Stronger in the sense, yes, I might not strive and be the strongest in the gym or stronger than who I used to be the previous day. But I definitely felt more alert, more agile, more flexible, and more sharp. And I think that's what 30 is about. You want to be working smarter, not harder. And that's the key to your 30s. Well, some actionable tips that I could share. Number one, most importantly, is to prioritize active recovery or rest. You could add recovery days. What I like to do is alternate training days. So I work out on the first day and then I rest on the second, and then work out on the third day and I rest on the fourth, etc. And on days where I'm resting, I either do complete rest if I'm feeling really worn out, or I would do some active recovery like walking, swimming, a little bit of stretching. I do 15 to 20 minutes of stretching on rest days, and this really helps my muscle to recover faster. And stretching really feels really good once you get into the hang of it. The start can be disastrous because your body is probably super stiff, but once you stretch for a couple of weeks and months, you feel amazing. So pay attention to the soreness. That's tip number two, listen to your body. If you're exhausted, swap that intense workout session with probably a brisk walk, some stretching, or maybe just a couple of push-ups and pull-ups. And this will help avoid you over pushing yourself, especially on days where, if you're like me, you work very long hours and you might not have 8 hours of sleep the previous day. You feel literally like shit. I think those are the days you don't want to be overexerting yourself. And that's the challenge of the 30s, because once you hit your 30s, It's likely when your career starts taking off full trajectory, or up to maybe your 40s. And you really have to balance between your focusing on your career or working out on your health. And I believe that there's a balance that can be achieved. But on some days and some weeks, one has to be deprioritized. So there are certain weeks where I work corporate job, my investing a lot more, and then I sacrifice more of my training and I train less. And then there are some weeks where I'm a bit less busy and then I train more. So try to strike that balance. These small changes will make a big difference. You don't have to give up fitness in your 30s. You just have to adapt. And in summary, your 30s don't mean the end of fitness. In fact, it's the start of your fitness, I would say. Especially if you haven't started. I think your body would really need it when you hit your 40s. I learned the hard way that my body needs more rest and care than it did in my 20s. And the food that I put in my body also makes a huge difference. Cutting out on alcohol, sugar, excessive oils and fats really made a world of a difference in terms of how I felt and how I performed. Try to stick to higher protein diets, clean food, and of course, occasionally you can have a cheat meal, but try not to have heart attack on the plate every single day. So whether in your 20s, prepping for the future, or in your 30s, feeling the change, start listening to your body now and it'll thank you later. Well, what's one recovery tip you're going to try? Drop it in the comments. Let me know if you want more videos on certain topics. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.